Okay, hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to see so many people today. And my students probably are confused. We are such a small group. And this is part of several initiatives. So today's session, first of all, is part of the course EMI International Joint Course from the Technion and some other institutions as part of the Impact. And the name of the course is International Communication in the Age of AI. This is also the beginning of a new semester for so many institutions in Europe. So finally, we are happy to launch a new BIP, a new international course with the collaboration of HMU. Professor Kostas Petridis is not here, but the first session is what was planned for this week and unfortunately had to be postponed. So we are gathering with so many of you for the first time this week to open a new semester, a new spring semester in Greece and maybe in some other institutions in Europe. I guess maybe some of you also received an invitation to this session from another framework. We run weekly AI playground sessions also with me presenting all kinds of tools. So today, this particular session is not going to be about the tools, but I hope you understand that the topic is a little bit different and the framework is going to be a little bit different. We'll talk about the ethics and use of AI and all the ethical questions. And this is a fascinating topic. I get a lot of questions like this, which I don't know the answer for. So we are going to maybe just give it another minute or two for everyone to gather. And I'm very happy to see so many of you here today, some of my colleagues, some of my students. If you can hopefully open your camera and participate actively, because I believe we will have some kind of interaction and questions today. So I'll be happy to see you also. Finally, maybe have an opportunity to read the names and get to know people, because when I present, it's very, very hard. But we will have in a moment, I will introduce you to our expert and a speaker today. Really, really exciting guest. I'm looking forward to introducing him. Let's just wait another 30 seconds. And you know what? Some people are still registering, so they are going to click on the link to, I just received a notification that someone wants to join the session and they registered. So I'm going to give the floor to the speaker in just a moment. I'm just waiting for another minute. Usually, in Europe, they give it another like 10, 15 minutes. I know that Costas usually begins the sessions a little bit after the announced time. With me, it's a bit different because I like to begin on time. I know we have a lot of content packed for you. We want to deliver, we want to discuss a lot of interesting things. So I guess I will introduce today's guest speaker. And please feel free to post your questions in the chat. You know what? Let's give it another minute because people are still registering and joining. Can you just drop your country in the chat? We already have 43 participants on Zoom, which is kind of fun. We are planning another event. So thank you, Stephen from Germany. Please post your location. Abed from Israel. We are going to have another event we will announce and invite all of you to join us and participate. It's going to be a student-organized conference at the same time in exactly 2 weeks time from now. So we have Mohammed from Palestine, Georgia, we have Slovenia, we have Lithuania. Oh my gosh, such a multinational audience. Armenia, Greece, Slovenia. Oh my God. We do have a lot of countries here. Wonderful. Thank you so much and welcome to this interesting session. It is interesting. We're living in a very interesting time, very sensitive time, right? I'm moving. Okay, so exciting. We will have a chance to also probably interact with each other. We are planning some kind of interactive moment during this lecture. So the workshop, the session is going to take about 75 minutes, right? We plan usually our lessons at the Technion, since it's in the framework of one of the institutions. We begin at 10:30 and the lesson is 90 minutes. So we will finish at 12 sharp, or maybe just a few minutes before 12. So this is, and I'm talking about Israeli time. So if it's if you're somewhere else, Central European time is going to be 11. But for those of you who are located in Greece, because we know many students are actually international students from HMU, from the Hellenic Mediterranean University, we have the same time zone, so we'll finish about at 12 o'clock. That's so you know how to plan. It's not a 1 hour session and it's not a 2 hour session. Today is an hour and a half. Wonderful, and we have more and more guests joining. Okay, almost 50 participants, and I think it's time for me to introduce our guest expert and speaker today. So today's lecturer is Dr. Lavi Sigman. Lavi holds a PhD degree in organizational psychology, and he works as a lawyer specializing in technology. So we had so many questions, for me, for Costas in our network about AI and the ethical use, and sometimes like legal questions. So it's time we actually have a lawyer and a legal representative here with us. But there is so much more about Lavi that I will tell you about right now. So Dr. Lavi Sigman is an entrepreneur, a researcher, and a lecturer. So Dr. Sigman is a staff member and a lecturer at Gordon Academic College of Education in Haifa, Israel. Gordon College of Education is part of the Impact Project as well. So we have this wonderful contribution. Thank you so much. Technion is also part of this project, and your institutions probably as well, if you are a lecturer from Impact. Okay, so Lavi is also a researcher in other frameworks, researching and teaching AI technology and law, information technologies, new media, entrepreneurship, psychology, and innovation for organizations in bachelor's and master's degree courses. Dr. Lavi Sigman serves in a variety of management and consulting positions in organizations and technology companies in the fields of nanotech, materials engineering, agri-tech, clean tech, biotechnology, and software. Dr. Lavi Sigman wrote 9 books and published in Hebrew and in English, and we are so honored to have you here today with us, Lavi. Thank you so much. You can now share your screen, and we are happy to begin.
Thank you, Lena. I'm happy to be here. I'm honored to be part of Impact and to donate my small contribution to the knowledge in this field. And I'm happy and I'm open to conversing with each one of you afterwards. Lena, you can send to the participants my email, my contact information. So
thank you so much.
Today we are going to talk about the ethical challenges of artificial intelligence, AI. And Elena, you properly introduced me. Too much, but thank you. And today we are going to deal with the ethical and moral and legal facets of AI. We are on the verge of a revolution. People quite not understand what we are talking about here while we are speaking about AI. And we are going to research together this realm. I'm not going to make it just an open, just a closed lecture, but rather I would be happy for you to be part of the discussion. And after conveying a few, let's say, a few slides, and we'll talk We'll talk about let me see here. We'll talk about a few aspects of AI, ethical and ethical aspects. What is ethics? And we'll talk about what is AI. Then we will split to groups for a short while, where you will be discussing together what you see as the most urgent, let's say, problems or challenges to be faced with, and then we will come back and to the class and share some of our notions and continue with the lecture, while I will be conveying some information about the legal aspects, which is a bit more heavy, let's say, because it's more of informational part of the lecture, but unlike other realms of research or information, this is things to be based on law and on research. That's why I'm going to share with you information, and I will be willing and be grateful if you will be criticizing and critical towards everything I'm saying in this lecture. And while I'm speaking, I'm critical about what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
so our goal is to be critical, and let's begin. So what is AI? AI characteristics, what are they as you perceive it? Things that, of course, we are not here in a lecture about programming. This is another course. So we are talking about the facets, the characteristics of AI, which interest us for you to share with me. I'll show you what I thought about in a minute. What are the characteristics that have some implication of what we will expect the AI use to be due to these characteristics? So I'd like to hear from you. What are these characteristics? What is AI? Think of a robot. You all know what is AI. You can see the applications of AI like ChatGPT, like Midjourney, Leonardo. You can see generative AI. So what is it characterized with? See the robot in this picture made by DALL-E, and what do you think characterize such a robot in 5 years that can converse with us and do many things? What characterize it?
Yeah, so I see
You
that
can
some
speak
people are
not just in
putting
the
in the chat.
chat.
Yeah,
Yes.
but also you can unmute yourself and express yourself. And I would like to really encourage mostly students to participate. I know we have a lot of several academics and teachers, but there are a lot of students today with us. And if anyone wants to express, it can be just one sentence or a word. You can write in the chat or unmute yourself and tell us what.
Computer code which is learned using big data to replicate human behavior. So it's a very nice. Thank you, Ingrida. It's a very nice definition, which is big. Okay, I'd like to hear more. Okay, don't be shy. I see. Okay. Plagiarism, of course, yes. How is it illegal? Right. So you are referring to the problems. I'm trying to characterize it first, and when we characterize it, we can see a few possible implication for each and every one of these characteristics. You can accompany it with an implication, a legal or ethical implication. So we are on a verge of a revolution. Think of the computers, the computer revolution, the IT, information technology, and the computer. When it first came to be, it revolutionized the world. Now we are on the verge of a new revolution, and we don't feel it because we are in the presence, feeling these tools as part of our lives, but we don't understand the implications of this revolution. And unlike the internet revolution, which is part of the information technology and part of the computer revolution, we are facing a revolution which is much wider, which will affect most of our lives, even in underdeveloped countries, of course, in developed countries, OECD or United States, because we are creating machines. This is why the image is in the right, is of a robot. We are creating machines, and we are just beginning to conceive, like pregnancy, conceive them. And in a few years, they will revolutionize how we perceive things. They will change the culture. They will change the employment world. So they will have many implications. Put aside the legal implications. I'm referring mostly to the cultural and to the cultural and to the ethical and moral implications. And it will change the world much more than the computer changed the world, and much more than the internet changed the world. Think of a world without internet, without the information and the services that you consume from the internet, but multiply it by 10,000, and this is what is expected in 100 years. Of course, in 10 years or 15 years, if we'll stay alive until then, we don't know. We are not talking about these short periods, but we are rather speaking about 100 years from now, which is the era of the machines, and how we will subordinate to this machine, so made them subordinate to us, how we will manipulate them, manage them, restrict them, is the question of this lecture. And while we are talking about AI, we can see a few realms of the characteristics of AI. One of them is big data analysis and learning. Learning, some of you talked about it. Is it indeed learning, or is it replicating things? This is a question, the correct question to be asked now. But think of AI in 10 years, in 15 years. Think of this robot. Think of data. I don't know how many of you saw Star Trek. The television, the movies and the television series, where is there a robot which is called Data, and he's has feelings, and he of course looks he's a humanoid. He looks human, and he wants independence. He's independent, autonomous. So how are the AI applications of the current time learning? I'm not sure. Are they learning? I'm not sure, because some of my professor friends and programmers say it's not really learning, it's something else. And the learning and the deep learning and machine learning are just hypes to sell to investors something else. But I'm not getting into this. I'm not getting into this point, because it doesn't matter. This lecture is about the change of the world due to this machine era in our lives, entering our lives. And this is the time to think of ethical, legal, and moral facets of this era coming to our face. So if you are looking at characteristics, so we are talking about the ability to analyze and learn huge amounts of data, to learn, maybe now not learning as you perceive learning of human learning, but still learning, adapting to new environments, new situations, analyzing, making things that are similar to human intelligence, analyzing, reasoning, predicting. And of course, this is very, very interesting, since I'm coming also from the fields of biology, bioinformatics, sensing, perceiving the environments. This is robots that we'll talk about, and machines that are based on biology, based on human cells, for example. We'll see videos of that at the second part of the lecture. and talking about an entity which is able to receive input, to process it, and to produce an output. Every one of these characteristics has implication in the legal, in the moral facets of ethics. So additional things are problem solving. This is not so sophisticated up to date, but look at 5, 10, 100 years from now, their ability to solve problems much better than we are able to do, probably, and to identify problems, to analyze, and to respond. If you think of a robot doing that, for example, robots that just now are being developed to take care of very, very sophisticated and dangerous tasks. A robot which will be there in the depth of the sea, dealing with the oil pipe, for example, where people cannot do such tasks. He will have all these abilities and much more. I'm talking about 12, 100, 300 years, it doesn't matter, but he will have these abilities. And once he has the abilities and once he is autonomous, we will deal with many, many problems aside from that. And this is the time to think of those problems, to write about them, to raise consciousness, to change the way that it is dealt with, okay? So we are talking about an entity being able to make decisions, to plan, to represent knowledge, to process it. And of course, we're talking about autonomous operation, no intervention. If we want an entity to be able to be a humanoid, a person which is sitting near me and giving me tips and helping me like my psychologist, he should have emotions. Maybe he will have emotions and much more than that. And if he is autonomous, is he self-aware? Is he self-sustainable? Is he independent? Is he as a part of the woke trend, entitled to be independent, like an entity, like a dog, which we will not kill without a very, very good reason? Should he, and is he an entity that is standing alone? This is questions to be asked, and now we are not so worried about it. We don't care because we are in the boiling pot. We are still not boiled. We are not still in pain, but we are just in the first phases of identifying and defining what is AI. And we are, as students, as lecturers, as researchers, should deal with these problems. As Alon asked, should a robot psychologist have emotions? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe the developers of such a robot will say that that for a cognitive therapy or helping person making good decisions, this robot should be having his own feelings. But the question is not if he will have feelings, this specific robot or this specific application, or even if you take it out of the physical realm and create. I'm on purpose talking about a robot, but think of an entity, because robot is something that is easy to perceive. We see an image, we say, oh, it have feelings, it maybe have feelings, maybe have thoughts, and a way of analyzing things and sensing things. But it is much worse, and it's very abstract, so I'm not taking account to that realm, but it is much more risky when you are creating an autonomous entity that is not in the physical realms, does not have a body, does not have sensations, but is programmed, maybe accidentally, maybe because someone, an entrepreneur, made it because he thought it is best to entwine these abilities into this virtual robot, and it will ruin the world. It will take over the world. It will be the dark net, okay, of the world. This is the time to make it not happen, to make the restrictions I'm open to technology. I like technology. I think it has a lot of innovations, but this is the time to deal with these problems and to restrict legally, morally, while studying these aspects, to stop it, to make it not happen. Because once you give the entrepreneurs, and now you give the entrepreneurs the choice to change the world, they are changing it, and they are changing it for profit. They will make this robot happen. They will make it independent, so he can make, so he can make, do, change, do chores that allows the organization, the firm that incepted, that conceived this robot, to make money for them. And if we are not stopping them, okay, so this companion, this friend of us, this psychologist of us, that someone made it for us to get help, for us to pay it, okay? They are making it for profit. Some of them are NGOs, non-profit, but while they are creating for profit, also non-profit, machines, virtual machines and physical, they have body, robots, let's call it, okay? It's not just robots, but let's call it a robot. While they are making it, they are changing the world, and the implication of these changes in the legal aspect and the ethical aspect. Legal laws are just a way of stopping people or allowing people or encouraging people to do things. But this is the time to do to create all the restrictions that will make a framework for all these entrepreneurs that wants to make a lot of money and to make a lot of, to help humanity, to restrict them, to tell them what are the proper guidelines to change, to do, to create. Okay, so so we will. I can see what Ihab you are talking about. We will touch it in a minute. We'll discuss it. And the last thing, but maybe the most I would say worrying, is the conscientious mind, the self-aware mind. You don't see it as something that is easy to create. Indeed, it is not easy to create self-awareness, but this is something which can be programmed, and it will be programmed. And if not programmed, it will be entwined into this robot's body, while biology, which is the next, as I see it, the next revolution of AI, while biology will be entwined into artificial intelligence of programming, because currently biology is not a part of this festival. And when biology will be part of it, we will see biology entwined into the cells, the parts of these robots. So think of a robot which is made of human tissues, and it has a human tissue which is derived from, not derived because it's not derived, but stem cells which are divided into brain cells. And this brain is in the box of this machine, and this machine is totally programmed. It's not conceived in pregnancy, and we can do many, many miraculous things with it. Should we have restrictions of that? It's not a creation of an infant, as in the United States it's prohibited. So what should we do with it? And if, as I will show you, the robot is only just doing a flip to do some sort of a chore, but this flip is best made by entwining muscle cells into this robot, which has AI abilities, for example. Should it be regulated? How should it be regulated? It's biology. It's just the first phase, which we are not still there. It's just the first phase of the revolution of the AI, and the next phases are biology implications, and then we'll have to think of many, many other things. But let's now talk about the more practical aspects of AI applications as we see it now in the day-to-day life. Do you have questions or notes regarding what we just talked about? Alon, you are talking about you are talking about many very interesting things. We'll talk about them in at the second part of the lecture. So, do you have any questions? Do you have any notes? Ariella, maybe we are here with Dr. Ariella Levenberg from Goethe University, which is a professional and a colleague, and heads the innovation department in Goethe University, the master degrees, and we are happy to see you here, and other professors, friends. Thank you. So, do any of you have any notes, criticism about what I'm saying? Because I'm just saying it because I read a lot of things, and I'm sure many of you has a lot of other notes, and I'm sure what I'm saying will be changed. It's not correct. It's not how the reality will end up to be. And I'm worried about that, because while we can anticipate some worrisome and some legal aspects of our current situation, seeing the future, maybe you can see many other characteristics of AI that can harm our world and have legal implications that I didn't show you.
Yeah, I actually would like to say something.
I just wanted to say that there are a few questions in the chat for you, Lavi, so you can maybe answer them also.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was the one who said a question, so I would like to say it in words. Because I'm from a more computer engineering side, so I know how to program and I know how hard it is, and I'm a little bit wondering how to implement feelings into a robot, because the only way I see is to put some more restrictions how robots can be programmed. But that would be really, really hard for programmers to implement those restrictions, and would set a lot of boundaries to a lot of more possibilities. So the whole way would be a lot more restricted. And I don't see that only restrictions will made a way to get AI into the world. So I'm a little bit more critical about how to implement feelings into a robot.
So at the moment, scientists in many places in the world, a few places that I know because I'm from the industry, try to program robots. I would say intentionally, I'm talking about robots. Try to program entities, software, to have emotions. This is created by programmers for profit, various profits aims. They have goals to, for example, if I want to give a good service, let alone to be a good psychologist, okay, or psychiatrist. If I want to provide good service to someone, I need to know what he feels. Why is he resenting me? Why does he resent the business offer that I'm giving him? Why does the consumer in the chatbot of my college, which is a potential student, thinks that my courses will not be sufficient for him, so he will go to the other university to get the degree? This is programming of emotions in order to allow the chat bot, which is a software, to provide good answers to someone who is conversing with it. And this is one of many, many goals which implies and entwine emotions into the AI software, so that it will provide some sort of an answer to someone. And this is I'm also answering Alon, okay, and as well as you. I'm saying that it is hard. They are doing it. It's not good enough. It's not good enough to entwine it into a software which is providing me a psychological therapy at the moment. But already now there are AI applications that are doing that, being a chatbot, which helps you get support, emotional support. And it is, as someone who has dealt with it, I can tell you it's good. It's not as good as a psychologist or a psychotherapist with a lot of years of experience, of course, but we only just began. And think of it in 10 years, and think of it after we use biology into it. Think of it after you program the biology in the way of a feeling, because if I'm a philosopher of psychology, I'm asking, what is a feeling? Does he has a feeling? If he is programmed to feel love towards someone who is caring for him, is it a feeling? It's not a feeling in the way of sensing. It's a sensing hormones or the brain and the heart entwined to create an emotions. It's a feeling of a program. But if you will get into it, the biological part, meaning put tissues, hormones, brain into this machine, and this is, as I'm saying, the next step of AI, then this is a true feeling, true sensation, meaning he can sense things. If you hurt it, it will have pain. If you inflict harm on it, it will shoot you because you inflict harm on the cells of this robot. Okay, and then this is the things that I want you to think of while you leave this lecture and go home and think of it, not just what I'm saying legally on what are the laws now, what are the ethical things now, but I'm talking about being critical towards this revolution which is about to change our world. And we are not critical enough because we are the frog inside the boiling pot. We do not see the reality as a trend which is changing the world, revolutionizing it, and slowly we let the entrepreneurs, and I'm an entrepreneur, so I dignify them, and I like it. I like entrepreneurship, and I like making money. I appreciate it, but I appreciate also making your value proposition, making your money while not ruining this world. And if you look at the internet, answering you, and the plagiarism, of course, we'll deal with it alone in a short while. If you're looking at the future of it, and look as deduction or induction of the internet, look how it became. The internet is a place in countries in some Eastern European countries and some Asian countries where it is a no man's land. You cannot do anything if you want to prevent robots from hacking or hackers from damaging your websites, or to upload pornography, or to distribute malwares. You cannot do it because there will be always there will be countries that allow genetic engineering. They will allow malwares to become. They will hack the worlds. They will steal your bitcoins. They will always be. So if they will always be, and they are always present, look at the internet, how you cannot prevent pornography. I'm not taking into account if it's correct to prevent pornography or not. You cannot prevent children molestation and pedophiles. You cannot prevent hackers from being in the field. So think of a world where AI will dominate the internet, or the networks. Let's talk about networks, not the internet. It will dominate it as a part of our worlds, but there will be many applications, programs, entities that will do things, I'm talking generally, do things that have the most dangerous implications that you can think of. Okay, and there will be biological entities, and there will be AI, and it doesn't matter. As for your correct note, it doesn't matter if it is it has feelings or doesn't have feelings, real feelings or not, biological emotions, feelings, sensations. It doesn't matter, because it will do things that we cannot, we do not want them to be. Okay, and this is the time to prevent it from being. Okay, so I will give time for questions in a minute, because David, you can. I would like you to talk, and because we have many things to discuss more, and for you to be in the groups, and yes, I'm hearing you.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much for the time for question. I had a question regarding, so while we were discussing the feelings part, a question I thought of is, so there is one case, let's say, where if I have a shop, then I may design some bot that goes through reviews and uses some natural language processing to see which review is positive or not. That is an entity that we could say is interacting with emotions. Then on the other side, we have the most advanced, OpenAI's large language models, where Microsoft researchers publish that they are passing, let's say, Turing's test or theory of mind test from psychology. So I was wondering, is it possible to define or assess, do we have real, aside from technical perspective, ways to distinguish that review manager and large language model if we don't have a better understanding of consciousness? Because both of them passed the same tests that psychology may offer us.
Right. So we are, at the date, we are currently having a lot of problems from the legal aspects to measure, to see, to identify, and to distinct between the characteristics of human or artificial intelligence. This is why it implies a lot of legal problems, but the law now is trying to adapt to understand what's what. And we'll talk about in a minute, because it's a great question, it's a great note. We'll talk about it in a minute. So this is the answer, and the question is, they don't know anything about it. They don't even research it. I'm talking about, for example, people in the Department of Justice. They care about it only when, for example, someone addresses them. For example, the Israeli Defense Force is creating a program which is supposed to do many things. So it addresses, and it has to do training. Okay, on you talked about large language model, to do training on Hebrew. So they addressed the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. They addressed the Ministry of Justice in Israel, and they asked for an opinion, for a written opinion, which was published, of whether or not, according to the Israeli law, it is okay to train the large language model, to train the AI to use Hebrew. Is it legal? And after a lot of time that they dealt with it, and it was very urgent, because Israeli Defense Forces said that in order, it's for many uses, but for the Hebrew language AI applications to be better, you have to have a large language model in Hebrew. So they wanted it to happen, and still it took a lot of time to find experts, and they gave an opinion that while you are training on Hebrew in large language models, it is considered to be incidental, and incidental plagiarism, let's say, or incidental use of information, and that's why it was authorized. Okay, so now you can do it, but it implies the answer to your question, which is they did it like a case law, case by case and study by study. We'll talk about it regarding Google, regarding other facets. So if we think of the AI essence, it's, as I defined it, a simulation of human intelligence in a non-human being, using means that convert input to output, programmed to receive, process, and learn. I'm not sure it's a very good definition, but I think it helps it, and perform tasks, which will be the change we still don't see. It will be a very, very big influence, which often requires human intelligence. We think that human intelligence is wise, that we are wise. We are not wise. We ruin this world. We are not wise. Maybe when we'll give these machines to be wise instead of us, they will be wiser. Maybe they will be much more devastacious, because they will be doing what they are doing, or deciding what they're deciding based on our stupid minds. Okay, I'm saying as a doctor of psychology, seeing how many people ruin and damages and harm so many others and themselves. So I'm talking about that. Alon, did you have a note? Okay. So I want to show you before our discussion, I want to show you Sora, which is OpenAI text to video new creation, a new application which creates videos out of pure text. So you will see a cartoon kangaroo, for example. You will just write 4 words, a cartoon kangaroo dancing, and then you will receive up to 60 seconds videos in a minute, in a second. Okay, and think of it, we only just began. The revolution is just starting. People are not trained to create AI programs still, and just now it's just starting, and we just now see things that implies and changes the world. Think what will be in 5, 10, 20, 50 years. It will be very, very dramatic. So you can see on the screen the level of let's say the product, the level of the products, and this is something we can see because we can perceive it. But the things that we cannot perceive in graphical, visual ways are the most dangerous one. So you can see it, and you can see how sophisticated it is, how detailed it is. And I just wanted you to see so that you will understand how the implications that I will be talking about in a minute will have. Do you see this person? It's not a real person, okay? Do you see this dog, this mammoth, this cat we don't care about? But while we are talking about a person, so if he resembles Tal Noi or David or Alon, and now he's in a film, because they took Tal Noi, Alon, Ariela, and David and took their faces from Facebook and made someone eventually look, which does not look as one of you, but eventually he does look. They didn't take the face of Tal, for example, but eventually it looks much like Tal. Is Tal, by law, entitled to sue them, to ask them not to introduce his image in this film because he didn't get anything from it? Is his, do you see here a creation? If his creation is displayed in a bit different way, is it plagiarism? You see this person, if he exists in a bit different way, is he entitled to prevent this production from being happening? These are questions that remains to be decided, but many of the countries in the legal aspects do not deal with it. Even the European Union, aside from the United States that is trying to deal with it and not successfully, is it really something that is not worth our resources to stop it from being the devastacious next phase of ruining humanity, ruining Earth? I think it is. I think it is the most important things to be dealing with, and many don't think like me. And the problem is that entrepreneurs like me, not in AI, I'm not in this field. Entrepreneurs don't want it to be the discussion, don't want to promote research in these realms. They don't want scientists or lawyers or professors to deal with these fields, because while they are dealing with it, they create restrictions, they create insights that will prevent the entrepreneurs from doing things they want. I don't think that the entrepreneurs want to be ruining the world. They want to do harm. They just don't want to be disturbed. But they don't see the big picture because they see only the picture of their pockets and their process of work, which they don't want to be disturbed. And we don't have to pay attention to them, because we are the one who is deciding the fate of this world, and hence I think that we should be dealing with it. And unfortunately, there's not much research being done on that, unlike just only in universities and places that are not being sponsored by big companies that has interest, that no one will deal with it, no one will restrict it. Even some of the entrepreneurs specifically say that this is a major problem and it poses a major threat on humanity. Okay.
I know that Hollywood actually had a lot of conferences and discussions, and also like all kinds of articles. They know they are now in danger because the ChatGPT can produce scripts and series in a way sometimes better than an average script writer. So and now we see the footage that can be done by AI. I wonder what kind of movies are we going to see in our lifetime in 5, 10, 15 years. But also, yeah, just listening to you, Lavi, and imagining all of this, I feel like I'm somewhere in a science fiction reality in the future. I guess that the biggest thing is that the issue is so complex and so gigantic, we cannot even identify ourselves as being part of it. Like you said, we're a frog boiling in the pot. But I also have another metaphor. It's like an issue of environment. Everyone knows that something wrong is going on there, but it's not going to probably affect our lifetime and our kids' lifetime. But there is something going on, and it's a matter of how we perceive.
Great comparison. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about AI, the characteristics, the problems. Let's talk in a short while, because we don't have a lot of time, about ethics, because I'm condensing many insights into a short presentation. It's a complete course that I'm conveying in that field. So I'm trying to talk about as many things as we can. So we are talking about ethics. We'll not get into it, but ethics is telling right from wrong. What's the right thing to do, good or bad? What is morally right, moral virtues, moral obligations, fairness, what is justice, okay? And even if we're talking about ethics, we're talking about how to behave in order for us not to inflict harm and not to do damage, and to not change or inflict in a bad way the well-being of others, okay? So if we talk about this is the way we are talking about ethics. But ethics encompass principles and values that are guiding individuals and societies in determining the right from wrong. And ethics in general and ethics in AI use applies across diverse contexts. Okay, so we are talking about diverse contents. For example, the legal aspects, which is one, but we have the scientific research aspects we are not talking about here. I'm talking in all different lecture, but there are many implications. Some of you asked about plagiarism, for example, of a student or a teacher, of a pupil, not a student of the university, but a pupil, which is not creating something of his own mind, but just his own mind is creating a prompt which is which is making the AI application create something which he is maybe creative and not him. So the question is also implies on these realms. Business practices, ecological practices, social policies that will be derived from the use of AI, professional conduct. Okay, if I'm a lawyer, am I entitled to produce a lawsuit, as an American lawyer did, produce a lawsuit relying on stupid legal precedents that were wrong, while creating a legal lawsuit, a legal argument and a lawsuit. And this is a question also, and personal relationships. So when we're talking about ethical reasoning, we're talking about, and I'm getting into the more legal aspects, we're talking about balancing competing interests and values. We say, okay, we want it to be helping humanity. We want the student to be able to use AI application in order to create a text, okay, maybe a lesson. Okay, but we want it to be balanced. So what is the balance? How do you promote the common good? How do you respect fundamental rights and moral norms? This is the question of our lecture. And when we are talking about that, I want to ask you about minding the AI, mind the tech. You see here. And then we'll go to the legal aspects, and maybe we will go to the rules and then come back. We see here Andy Warhol taking a picture of some famous guy. I will not say who exactly if you don't you don't identify him. He took a picture of some famous guy and created his own distinct art. Andy Warhol is a very famous artist, and he made this art. And I want you to try to tell me, out of his art, if you don't know it, doesn't matter, because you can see his art here. Out of his art, what are the derivatives of AI and what are the derivatives of Andy Warhol, based on a picture that I will tell you the story of it, based on the picture of this famous singer. Okay, so you can say A1, A3, B2. This is the question. It's very easy. I didn't even bother to make it hard, because we don't have much time to play with it. But what do you think? Where are the false images which AI produced? The art which AI produced. You can open your cameras. D2. D2. Great. It's correct. What else? D2. Right. C2. Okay. Okay. D2 and C2. Okay, that's correct. What else? B2. Correct. Great. So this is Andy. On the left, you can see the real Andy Warhol creation, and on the right, you can see my mixture of Andy Warhol and Leonardo AI. And in the middle, you can see Prince, which is a singer, a picture of Prince. Okay, this is his stage name, by Lynn Goldsmith, and she sued Andy Warhol for using let's consider Andy Warhol an AI machine, a very human and ingenious AI machine application which created his Andy Warhol distinct art on the left, based on her image. And he didn't give her credit, but who cares in this world about credit? She wanted money. She sued him for being the AI machine. He's not an AI, I'm just joking. He took her the picture and created his art based on that. But it is a real person's picture. The way a person looks is in the public domain. If there are facts, a face of a person is a fact. Let's call it a fact. This is a matter of a fact. Then you cannot protect it from being used. Okay. For example, if I'm writing in my in my blog that in Europe there are 500,000 professors. This is a fact. If now Elena wants to write in her article that this is a fact, she doesn't even have to give me credit for that. Or if she wants to to take a picture of the Mona Lisa, this is her picture. She took it in a specific angle. This became her creation. Mona Lisa cannot be protected anymore because it has more than 70 or 50 years from the death of the creator has passed. And since then, there are many laws. I will not get into it. It cannot be protected. The fact as itself, the art as itself. For example, if I'm taking Andy Warhol's replica of art, I cannot do it until 70 years of his death has passed. But I can do a derivative. So the question is a derivative which resembles a bit what AI does, is it protected by law? So here the answer was that when Andy Warhol, the artist, made a derivative, it's like an AI, but it's not as you can see, it's not a replica. He made a derivative, but the judge said that his derivative is not protected, is not his own. It's derived from the original one, and he should pay, and he did pay Lynn Goldsmith money because he based his art on that. This is derivative art. So the question is much wider if we are talking about legal aspects of generative AI creation. The question is, if I'm using your text, for example, the New York Times text, to create answers in my ChatGPT, am I entitled to use it? If I'm taking text and just changing it a bit and raping it off the details of the journalists and the details that may identify it as an article, if I'm as AI trained my model based on New York Times materials, I stripped it of any identifying details that may show that it was taken from an article of the journalist. Is it okay? Should I pay this journal? So this is in the main lawsuit that was filed against OpenAI using New York Times contents. I'm guessing it will be settled outside the court. OpenAI, for example, said that that while New York Times, and there are other lawsuits resembling it, while they wanted to see if OpenAI, if ChatGPT gives you answers based on your New York Times content, while you are putting in information into it, it's learning. So OpenAI said, no, while you did that, you made our machine learn, and that is why she knew what to give you, and that is not an infringement of copyright. So the question is here, I am not trying to make you an expert of copyright, but the question is here, are we really thinking of the implications in general, and how should we think of it as a threat to our creations, not just to our future, to our society, to our culture, but to our creations. So we can see here Black Nazi and Native American Viking that Gemini or Bard, depends how you call it, created, which shows us here the implication of the first implication of the moral and legal challenges. Is it just the copyright that is a problem? No, it's much more than that. It's the reliability, the information integrity that we're talking about, not just intellectual property that we'll talk about in a minute. So now I want you to spread into groups for 10 minutes, and each and every one of you will think of the three most significant legal or moral challenges according to what I've just talked about. The three main issues that are legal or moral or ethical that arise from the AI use, okay? Because we are talking about 10, 20 problems, and there is a question: what is the most urgent? Creators, writers, as Elena says, filmmakers are worried about their job being taken. New York Times is worried about their text being taken, but I'm worried about things are much larger, changing the reality. If our children or grandchildren, doesn't matter, will consume the reality by asking the super intelligent applications, how did Nazi look like? And he will produce things that are resembling this picture. It will give them false information. It doesn't matter that we would have wanted, if we could have changed reality, for the Nazis to be pro-woke and nice and inclusive. It doesn't matter that we want to change reality, but we cannot, because this is not correct. This is a false fact. As we know, OpenAI and others cannot stop fake news, fake information from being displayed. This is much wider. This implies the way of the AI being the way that we will consume reality, consume information, and while we will be taking that as the only truth. Look at our children. When they are looking for a thing and they get it in Google, a Google answer, they say it's written in Google. Like, that's reality. Yeah, I saw it in AI. The black Nazi, that's reality. The founding fathers of America were all black, African, from India, from Slovenia. No, it's not the reality. It doesn't matter that we would have liked reality to be different. That's another thing. But reality is reality. This is how things are. The facts without our emotional or perceptual complexity into the facts. So the question is what are the implications and how will it affect us? So Elena, please be kind to open.
So we'll have 10 minutes, and the task is to really come up with 3 ethical applications you can think of, like yourself, within your group, because after we come back, we will discuss this and you will either drop this in the chat. So I'm not making it.
Yes, you'll drop it in the chat while you're doing it. Yes.
I don't know if it's going to be projected to the whole chat when they're in the rooms, but in the room we discuss. So think about 3 implications, 3 AI applications, and when we come back, we will have a main general discussion.
Great.
I'm going to open the rooms. You will be small groups, 3 or 4 people, mostly students. So feel free to open your microphone, to open your camera, chat with each other. You have 10 minutes for that. Okay, so enjoy.
Yes.
So now resume the recording, and we have 10 seconds before everyone comes back
Great.
from their rooms.
Great.
And we have 10 minutes exactly before we need to finish. So great. Thank you. Let's see, 7 seconds. There are so many issues to discuss and to think about and to actually,
Yes, yes.
yeah. Let's see what they come up with. Maybe
Hi, everyone.
maybe we can see more people with their cameras on for now, because you were kind of forced to talk to each other because of the situation of the breakout room. So
I'll be happy if you can write in the chat what ideas of the main issues you had. And if one or two of you wants to share your insights of what's the most pressing problems we are facing. Does someone wants to share his thought, or you want to write it in the chat? Because I don't, yes, I can see one.
I'll be happy to share.
Yeah.
So the main thing we discussed was deep fakes and the spread of like using it to spread fake news or
Okay.
rumors about people.
Fake, right, false information, absolutely. That's huge. People don't even realize that this is a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
And creative integrity, which Ihab talked with me about, fake information indeed. Trust in sources. This is awareness of AI. We'll talk about in a minute. Yes. This is,
Alon, you want to add anything? I see that you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I was asking the
issues,
question.
Yes.
I was asking the question about. I came up with the example of news companies, media companies that produce news.
Right.
If they're going to start using AI to produce their news instead of depending on correspondence in different countries or something like that, what's the quality of that news and what are the implications? Because if a correspondent has a certain amount of responsibility, even though every news company has an agenda, but if correspondents have responsibilities to produce their, to give their companies good news or true news, what responsibility does AI have if it's used as an aggregate to bring in news?
Correct. And the issue is, and this is what I want to address, the issue is here that while we talk about AI, it does not have any accountability. While you use it and it produced bias, it produced discrimination in the text that you may not even pay attention to. It may even create something which in certain countries is illegal. For example, it may call to against certain people. It can be hateful. Okay, hate crimes, while just writing a text. So if I'm taking AI application and it creates hateful material, for example, and I didn't pay attention that it is a racist, for example, and it's forbidden by law. Am I accountable or the AI accountable? The answer is you are accountable. And this brings me to the terms of use. And I will get to it in the tips of the end of the lesson in a short while, the tips of how to use AI. So this is very, very good notes. And as we talk about the main challenges with as Ihab, for example, noted, the reliability, the information integrity, the fact that the information, we're not sure it's correct. The news, we're not sure it's correct. I'm putting aside fake news, which is intentional change of facts to harm someone for a certain, or to make a product sell, for example. This is intentional, but I'm talking about unintentional, that our kids will ask to see how Nazi looks like, and they will see a black person. So how can they? So he may like Nazis because he will say, "Oh, of course, I can relate to it. They were there." So there were black person, Afro-American persons in under Nazis military. So they are great. They were very inclusive, but it's not reality, not what happened. Okay, so the reliability, the information integrity is a certain issue. The second issue, which most of you in the groups and wrote me, is the copyright issue. The copyright issue is that we are taking something, put aside text, we are taking something and we are using it for in a different manner. Is it okay to do it? So we have the fair use as a distinction of a moral tool. Fair use meaning it allows you or the AI or a person to use text, to use images in certain ways. For example, if it's for study, it's for research or criticism, to use it while you are not inflicting harm, you are not using the entire work of art, and you can do it. You can use it. And as I told you about the IDF asking if it's possible to train the machines in Hebrew, it's possible because it's also incidental, because it's an incidental use, okay? And as a whole, I will tell you that that AI, while it uses expressions of people, expression is the word, the way the words are phrased, and it's changing it. It became a different creation, and that's why it's not an infringement of copyrights, okay? But if you take the entire book of Alon and rewrite it, it's in different words. It's not forbidden because it's taking the entire creation. But if I'm taking a certain article of Alon, and as a professor, I'm rewriting it in my own words, adding a few things here and there, it's totally acceptable. People will say, oh, of course, you're not innovative, it's all Alon's. But I'm entitled to it, and it's not entitled to sue me because it's a fair use and it's not taking the words of him. The intellectual property, the legal facets, protects the expression of an idea, but it's not protecting an idea. Because if I have an idea to go to space, or you have a human colony on space, and I'm going and asking to patent it, I can get a patent or can write a book in certain words, or write a patent in certain technology. I will get the protection only on the certain expression of the idea, okay, not on the ideas itself. So that's why there is a huge legal question about that. But I want to wrap it up, and we don't have a lot of time, so I'll talk about other things that you talked about that are challenges and the tips of how doing it. We are talking about discrimination and biases. We're talking about privacy and international law problems, data security leakage. Someone talked about it. Resource distribution. If the entire world is full of AI machines doing everything instead of us, who eventually and how will the profits of that will be divided? Of course, for the main huge corporates now. But if they are doing all of the things and we don't have work to be done, should we be poor, and there will be only elite corporates that rule the world and have all the money because they are doing with their robots all the chores? It's a question to be answered. Transparency, accountability. Are we using AI? What is being there? What's the black box doing? And of course, the social impact. Here we can see a tiny hybrid robot moves by contracting lab-growing muscle tissue in its legs. It needs help. This is the electrodes that give him a bit of electricity to change it. But here we can see that this is cells on top of plastic that is moved. So this is an example, or a specific human terrestrial skin cell, which is self-assembled into multicellular moving organoid called anthrorobots. And this image shows you how it does. Will it be humanoid? Will it be a robot? Will it be Data of the Star Trek? Will it be autonomous? And how should we program it? How should we restrict it? It will be if it will be self-aware. So if we'll wrap the course up, the lecture, I'll give you 10 tips. First, if you are, of course, privacy issues, First, when you are using AI, understand what it's doing, what is it doing. Understand what is the black box doing. Understand the terms of use of what you are doing, because some of these applications bring the accountability to you. They give you the power, they give you the accountability if you infringe copyrights. For example, if you are creating a brochure and inside the brochure there will be a part of an image of an artist like Warhol, like Jane, that will sue you. He will sue you, and if you didn't read correctly the terms of use, you will be the accountable one, because you have to check. So be mindful of your data, be mindful of the creations, challenge the biases, look at the text, look at of how AI works, and challenge it, see the biases, see the problems. Don't rely solely on AI. Be transparent about it. If you are, because some of you are from programming, hold developers accountable, meaning support developers to prioritize ethical use, ask questions about the practices that they choose to align with your values. Advocate, I'm talking generally, advocate about the responsible AI use, as I talked about. Stay informed, what are the changes that are going on in the legal realms, and educate others. And of course, be optimistic that it may be a good and beneficial use for humanity. And let's hope that we will be smart enough to protect ourselves from it and use it for our benefits. I'm not sure about that, but let's hope. So thank you for being present. And
wow, thank you so much, Lavi, so much food for thought. I guess everyone has some homework to do, some thoughts to process, some images. I will follow up on all the registered participants with an email, with the recording of this session, with the questionnaire for everyone to give your feedback, because we want to hear your insights, your ideas, your actual feedback. Everything you wrote in the chat is also very, very interesting. I'll extract those quotes and add them in the session summary. So thank you so much for your participation. Again, welcome to the new semester. And I'll see you on Friday. Hopefully we have another session on Friday. We meet every Tuesday and Friday, and we have a student conference coming up in 2 weeks about the use cases of how students use AI tools. And you're all welcome to join us. So thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.